All right, here is my new and improved interactive fiction. Um, I still can't believe that it like made it so much better just from this one fix. It's amazing how the smallest issue in a program can cause such a big problem. um, but I appreciate your help. I really do. I really get worked up over the smallest things, and I really shouldn't. Um, it blew my mind that that was the issue. And again, I apologize for bothering you over that. But I do appreciate your help, and thank you for always being available to help us. Um, but it's called The Piano. It's like a little mystery. I got the idea from a movie called The Heist. If you ever saw that, it was like a comedy movie, and um, we can run through it real quick. But so I made all my includes to include all the outputs and stuff. Using namespace std to avoid having to use the std double colon in certain statements. Here's my starting my mains for the whole program. I named off all my variables here. All my strings for the names, for the descriptive word, for the color at the end, as well as the integer for the population. And then I took your advice and separated, because I never know how to, where to start when I program. And I took your advice with making notes like this. So I was like, okay, maybe the first half, introduce characters and places. Second half, bring the reader in. And then last, end on the first cliffhanger and clue. And that really worked for me. So I'm definitely going to be doing that further down the road in the future. Whenever I program, just break it into sections so I know which section is which. So here's the title, and then I just started coding for the output, just outputting all the text and stuff. Here's where the player inputs the population. I made some changes because at first it would just kind of like the player would read through it and there would just be a like flashing light, flashing cursor where they could type something, but they don't know what they got to type, So I made I put this here, main character's name here, wife's name here, your name here, so that way they know what they got to input. So it's not like what am I supposed to do here? Population is pretty self-explanatory with the population of, and you can just put in what you want. Keeps on continuing through here. Names are inputted throughout the story when they're referenced. Here's the descriptive word, and I even did that descriptive word here. And then I made a int choice section of it, so the reader can choose what happens to the person. However, when blank stands up, what do you want to happen, to continue the story? And for the output, I kind of made them all special, so that way no matter what they choose, it has a different outcome of what happens, but still creates the same consequence afterwards. So that way it's not just like trips over your foot and that's it, or loses his balance and that's it. So here's the output for all of them, whatever one you choose, case 1, 2, or 3, and default just does not register. And then for the color, to end the story, have the if statement. If color is silver, it will be to be continued. Else, try again. Just trying to see if the player picks up on the story. There were build errors. What are you talking about? There were build errors. Oh. That's probably... Oh, because I started the... That's just my hotkeys to start recording is shift and that. So that's probably the reason why. Gave me a heart attack right there for a second. Okay, so Camborne is a little coastal town with a population of, let's say, 244. And a fairly flawless history. 20 years ago, a wave of robberies hit the town, and they continued for months and suddenly stopped. The weird part of it was that only jewelry stores were hit, not banks. This has caused many jewelry stores to close temporarily to keep their valuables locked away. One resident was also affected by this wave of crime. His name is John. He lost his parents to one of the gunmen, and they were shot in cold blood during a robbery. His parents were known as the town's musicians and had their own instrument store. They were building Joshua a piano since it is his favorite instrument. It was going to be a surprise, but they died before they could finish it. He was 10 years old. John is now an actor and lives with his wife's name here, Mary. They own his parents' shop, and Mary is a graphic designer. During his spare time, John plays his piano even though a couple keys are missing. When he first played, he noticed that the keys are heavier than most pianos, but he still played. Even though it has been 20 years and the culprits just vanished, many individuals have not let the robberies go. Your name here, Tyler. Tyler, you moved to this town a couple years back after hearing stories from the news. You thought you could shed some light on the issue and solve the case, bringing the killers to justice. So you started with the one affected the most by what happened, John. You became friends with him and hung out, and let's see if I can extend this. Tried to ask questions to see if you could get any clues. After reading through countless articles and reports, the only thing you could find is that the robbers only stole silver items, never gold. Was this a strategy? Their calling card? So many questions flooded your head, but only 3 remain the most important. Why kill John's parents? And who are these criminals, and where are they now? John's family was always trying to give the best for their child, even though they were just musicians. So why hurt this family? Anyway, John invites you over for dinner one night, and he gives you the tour of the house and shows off all his instruments. Finally, he saves the best for last and brings you down into the basement to reveal the piano his parents made. He begins to play a song. During the song, you can't help but take your eyes off the missing keys and wonder, why was it not finished when all they needed were just a couple of keys? As the song draws to a close, you clap and tell him it was, descriptive word, amazing. However, when John stands up, now you get to choose what action happens. He tripped over your foot and fell into a shelf, knocking something onto the piano. Out of pain, John heads to the bathroom to make sure he is all right. You pick up some items that fell and broke in the incident, but something catches your eye. Something caused a deep scratch on the piano, and instead of revealing hard wood, the scratch glistened. It almost had a shine to it, a metal texture underneath the paint, like the piano was made of, and if you input silver, it ends to be continued. If I said something else, it would be try again. And that's just my short, interactive fiction. And that's where I got the idea from. The heist is when they were trying to find out where all that money went. In the movie, there's this billionaire that stole hundreds of billions of dollars, and they're trying to find out where it is, and it turns out he turned it all into gold and made that gold into a car. And the car sits in his penthouse on display, and you just never expect it. And when somebody scratched it, they saw gold underneath, and that's where he hid it. It was just it's a car. So I kind of basically gave it away. But yeah, he scratches the piano, sees that it's silver. There's a hint earlier on that they stole only silver items, never gold. So, he just kind of hits a scratch. And obviously, if I don't explain this to the reader, they might be like, why is the piano made out of silver? If I don't explain the movie, they'd be like, why is it made out of silver? Wait, what happened to this point? Or, it just gets them thinking. If you're familiar with the movie, you might know, but that's my interactive fiction. And I still can't believe that this was the problem. I should have known that. I know that strings are words. I honestly don't know why I used car characters. I should have known that. But it's fixed now, and I really appreciate it, and it's working great. And this was a great first step.